Howdy folks, and welcome back to the RCD show. I'm sitting here with Donovan Hatcher, and we're broadcasting in our new home on KWVH 94.1 FM on your dial, and that's streaming worldwide, WimberleyValleyRadio.org. Welcome back to the show. Donovan, how have you been?
Thanks, Rick. I'm happy to be here. Doing well.
Donovan, as you know, is a regular guest on the show. I think this is the first time on this year, 2016.
Yeah, first.
He's been on a number of times in the past. And Donovan, and by the way, Donovan's a Wimberley boy. I'm very proud of that, being somewhat of one myself here now. Donovan, I'd like to get right to this first song. I'm excited about it, and then we'll chat a little bit. What's the name of this first song?
This is called Dust of 1,000 Songs.
Dust of 1,000 Songs. I love your titles. When did you write this one?
About 4 months ago.
Oh, this is real recent.
It's relatively new.
Right. Dust of 1,000. Dust of 1,000 songs. Dust of 1,000 Songs by Donovan Hatcher.
Covered in the dust of 1,000 songs, the road before us winding on. Summer days grow ever long. Are you going to stay? Lingering heat keeps pressing on. Memories wane as shadows grow long. My heart was lost to the river's song. Are you going to stay? Raise up your voice and sing blessings the water will bring. Listen, hear her sing. Listen, just listen. Listen and hear her sing. Lay me down where the river flows. Sweet green grass where the cypress grows. Sing forgotten songs no one knows. Are you going to stay? Raise up your voice and sing blessings the water will bring. Sacred gifts from the spring. Listen, just listen. Listen and hear her sing.
Nice song.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's a very Donovan-ish song. It's very steady and smooth, and it kind of reminds me of some of the pieces from the past, not necessarily on the show, but just over the years that I've heard you play. I could hear Donovan in there. If I heard you, I would know on the radio right off who that was.
Well, that's good.
I would even know who that song was by, I think, if I just heard it for a second. Well, what have you been up to in the since I hadn't seen you?
Well, I've been recording a lot, recording a bunch, finishing up a couple of records.
A couple?
A couple. Started off as one, and the road diverged into two different sounds.
Huh.
So instead of fighting it and trying to rein some of the material back in to fit the concept for the first album, I went ahead and let it go. And, so I'm doubling my workload. Just
that's what I say. You really you bit off a chunk, and then you bit off 3 times as much, didn't you?
I did.
I can't imagine going after anything at once like that. I can see where, if you have enough material and you sort it into which one they go in. Well, when are we looking forward to the first one, or both of them, or whatever? What's our schedule?
First one should be released in August. We're getting really, really close. Down to the mix down on it, and really just sorting out the details of mixing and mastering and getting it sounding just right.
Mm-hmm. So we'll be back in probably October then to talk about or sometime after August to talk about and show your new CD. Great. And maybe even have a little on-air release party or something,
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to do that. We can't. By the way, now that we're actually all official and have our own station and everything, you can't lie to my customers. I mean, my audience. You lie to me. You can't lie to my audience.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're boxed in there.
Absolutely.
But okay, and then do you have a ballpark idea of when you might, mid next year or whenever, come out with the second one?
The second one I'm hoping before the end of the year. The idea is to complete
both of them.
Complete both ideas this year.
Oh. This is how many songs is that? Like 10 or 12 per?
Yeah, the first one has 10 songs on it. The second one, right now, I'm still in the process of narrowing down the material a little bit. There's about 12 songs I'm working with, and probably a couple of them will go by the wayside for another time.
You spend a lot of time recording, don't you? I mean, that's you're not just a singer-songwriter with a pretty face and a good voice and a shiny mahogany guitar. You're somewhat of a recording engineer yourself, aren't you?
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
I like recording, and because I'm multi-instrumental, it kind of comes naturally. I get an idea, and in the studio I can develop it.
Flesh it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm gifted with the sort of ear that some of the classical composers we all know about, where they heard all the different parts for the whole orchestra, but I hear a lot of the parts for a smaller band.
Man, that always confused me. I remember in school, in band class, there was one kid, and it's probably unusual to have a kid in band class that actually can do that. He was gifted. I mean, by the third of the year, he was directing. The teacher would just turn it over to him. This kid was such. He was writing, and like you say, parts for all of the people. And me, I was a little clarinet player, and and I'm like, how does he hear my part, and the bass part, and and the trumpets, and the oboes, and everybody, we've all got our own parts, and this guy clearly can hear it in his head. I can see it ticking, I can see it working, and it's just... that is really beyond me. It's all I can do to do one thing at once. I'm lucky if I can do one thing at once.
Sure. I think it's an interesting part of the recording process if you grow into it. Because as you go through takes, you know, it's pretty rare you get something on the very first take. You might get the idea down, and then you'll have ways you want to improve it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then as the takes continue, and if you're listening very closely,
Mm-hmm.
You start to hear other parts. At least that's how it works for me. It kind of starts to creep in, other ideas start to creep in, and then having the studio access gives you the ability to explore those ideas.
Yeah, and know where they come from, and go back and say, okay, I like you, and I don't like you, and you'll work over here, but you won't work there, or
Sure.
I'm gonna totally throw you out, and yeah, I can see that. You know, I mean, you know that I've written, and my audience doesn't know as much as you do, but I find that sometimes 6 months, 8 months, because I don't do that. 6 months, 8 months, a year down the road, I'm just starting to flesh out. After I have my words and I have my key and I've got my basic tune, I still have to play it for 6 months or 8 months before it starts like finding all the little niches that it just falls
Sure.
down in and becomes mine. I kind of feel like I'm putting on a suit, you know, it either fits or it don't. And for the first little bit, it just doesn't really fit me. And then after a while, I go, wow, that's a nice fit. I wonder when that happened, you know? When did all of a sudden that change? I can see where it would be a great benefit if I, you know, if I took to a mic and recorded it and studied it and all, but
Well, we have some great tools available to us now, you know, even with just the voice memo app on your phone, you can get an idea down very quickly. You know, we used to scramble around for the 4-track and throw a tape in and try to get the idea down before you lost it. Now you can be sitting anywhere and just reach down real quick and put down an idea.
Right. Yeah.
And it's I'm kind of fascinated.
I've never done
with,
that. Wow, and you just and then piece it back together, or just save it in pieces, or whatever you want to do.
Whatever the idea is. It kind of reminds me of, I can't remember what interview it was, but years ago I heard a musician talking about, and this was in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
was talking about how they would call their home phone and do just that, leave the ideas for songs on their answering machine so they wouldn't forget them.
Okay.
And I kind of carried that into the notes
next,
on the smartphone. It works.
I'm
well.
so antiquated with stuff like that. I'm always like, you know, a year and a half, 2 years behind, if not more, behind the curve, you know. And they've always got new stuff out that I don't even know they have. And then I go to the store and I look at it and I go, wow, when did this, you know, year ago.
Changing all the time.
I had blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, that's no good anymore. That was last year's model. You know, it doesn't have this and that and the other. And sure enough, I mean, every year, the cameras we use for our YouTube version of the show, when we started, were, you know, a couple of $100, and they weren't HD, and now they're $400, not much more, and they're HD, and they've got incredible sound, and they figure out things, and they do all sorts of stuff, you know. The biggest present I think I ever gave myself in this industry was just a new little piece of equipment, so I could go, oh my gosh, look at all the stuff this does that I have been doing, you know. I've been trying to
work out.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's like that with songwriting too. The technology has streamlined the process. And I like the way some of it's very casual, like I said, just a click or two. It's not getting everything set up and testing mic levels and things like that. It's just a few little taps, and next thing you know, your idea is down. So your workflow creatively is facilitated that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's tell me about the next song we're going to do.
I'm going to do a song called Country Life, and this is a song that isn't as new.
Mm-hmm.
The first version of it on my last record, I just wasn't happy with the studio cut, so it's one of the pieces of material from the first album.
I believe you've done this on the show one time, maybe a year ago.
So.
And was that the old version then?
It's probably a little different from then. I don't recall exactly, but I just know it was it's a piece of material that when I play it live, it gets a really great response. There are people that tell me it's their favorite song that I do. It's lighthearted, which is nice. I can get lost in the ballads sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It's a good song.
I
and it fits you a little better now.
Pulled that one back out. Exactly.
Yeah.
It fits a little better now. I pulled it back out because there's folks that want to hear it. So
well,
we're going to get it on this next record.
We'll be back in a minute, but right now I'd like to hear that song.
Sounds great.
So once again, the name, I'm sorry.
Country Life.
Country Life. Country Life by Donovan Hatcher.
One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You have settled into that song. I loved it before. I've heard you do it more than once, and I really like that song. And I can tell it's becoming just you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a song I wrote about my home here in Wimberley. So it's I just kind of visualize my beautiful little home, and it makes
those of you who haven't been here, we have a beautiful little place, and that's what that song sounded like. Folks, this is going to conclude our first half. I want you to come back. Don't you touch that dial. You come back, after our break. We're coming to you from KWVH 94.1 Wimberley Valley Radio, right here in the heart of Wimberley at the Lumber Yard. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to the RCD show here on KWVH 94.1 FM on the dial and WimberleyValleyRadio.org, streaming worldwide. Sitting here with Donovan Hatcher. And Donovan, that was a beautiful set, two beautiful songs.
Thank you.
What do we have coming up for the next song?
This next song is a song I wrote. It kind of relates to our big Memorial Day flood last year.
Mm-hmm.
I started the song a couple weeks before the flood. I was staying at my parents' farmhouse up in Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
watching it for them, and wrote the song, wrote most of it, during the middle of a huge rainstorm in the old farmhouse. So it's called It's Raining Heartache. I was up there all by myself, nothing but critters in the old farm, and a really large rain. And kind of like we were talking about, I recorded the song on the fly, nothing fancy.
Mm-hmm.
And came back, went out to the Kerrville Folk Fest for the first weekend, and while I was gone, the Memorial Day flood happened here. And in the process of taking all that in and coming back and being part of the effort here in the community, the song kind of finished itself. And I tell people, you know, it's not exactly about the flood. It's more about my relationship with the river and my relationship with love.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's Raining Heartache.
It's Raining Heartache.
I like that. It's Raining Heartache by Donovan Hatcher.
One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Earth is black and full of
Ooh, that's a good one. Donovan Hatcher, Wimberley, Texas. You folks come back and see us on KWVH 94.1 FM. Join us next time.